coming to you from the Orange Room in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. This is It's Only Food with your host, Chef John Politte. Hi and welcome back to It's Only Food. I'm so happy you're here. Today we are making one of my favorite categories to make when it comes to food, and that is fusion food. We're going to take some Thai and we're going to take some Mexican, and we're going to make, and also vegetarian too. So it's a three-way Thai. Get it? And then we're going to make that, we're going to blend them together, and it's going to be a Thai-styled tofu taco. And I'd like to also do a shout out to one of my favorite viewers. She watches all the time and always leaves a comment. Her name is Fit Ange, better known as Angie Spada. So this show is dedicated to you. You did a nice job on a profile pic for me. It was a little thing you sent me on an email. I got up in the morning and boom, there it was. It was a picture of me and all my food in a little square. I use that as my profile picture on my chef page on Facebook. So Angie, I really appreciate you, and I do this show for you out of love and respect. So if you just watch with me right now, you'll see what our ingredients are. We've got some peanut butter, we've got some soy sauce, we've got some sesame oil, fresh ground ginger, fresh garlic, some tofu, corn tortillas, a little bit of slaw mix, green onions, cilantro, and limes. Okay, well before we get started on the tofu and actual cooking, I want to get some things done here that'll ease this whole process. So I'm going to take my carrots and my slaw and my cilantro and the red cabbage, and I'm going to mix this all up and let that set before we start cooking. That way it'll have time for the flavors to marry and blend and be happy, because we want them to be happy. So a little salt and pepper, get the juice of one lime, and I squeeze it like this so all the seeds come into my hand. A little sesame oil on there, and I'm just simply going to blend it all up. A little more lime juice in there. It needs a little more liquid. You don't want it sloppy and wet. You just want it to be blended up, because it's going to be a garnish for our tacos. Set this off to the side. And now we're going to cut up our tofu and put it on a towel to dry and get some of that moisture out of it. Alright, we have a nice square piece of tofu. Have my plate all ready for it. I'm just going to put these in. We're going to be using a 6-inch tortilla, so I'm just going to cut this. And I'm going to dice that way, and we're just going to let it drain on a paper towel like this. Just going to let it drain a little bit. Or not drain, we're going to let it soak up some of the liquid while we mix up our next thing, which is going to be our sauce. I'm just going to use the bowl that I had the slaw in. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of peanut butter, some sesame oil, about a tablespoon. I'm going to squeeze what's left of the lime juice into this. I'm going to get about a half a teaspoon out of that. Salt and pepper, fresh ginger, or jarred if you have it. Fresh is good, but this is just like fresh. And this is going to go very well with the tofu and the Thai-inspired flavor, so I'm going to add a little bit more than what the recipe calls for. A little bit of garlic with a different spoon. I don't want my way of getting that. About a teaspoon. I believe, soy sauce, a little soy sauce. I have some light soy sauce. About a teaspoon. sorry, not a teaspoon, but about a quarter teaspoon. And I'm just going to blend all this up. To this, I'm going to add a little bit of water, a little bit at a time, because this is going to be our sauce. That when the tofu has been browned up and heated through, we're going to add the sauce to it and let all those flavors come together. Then we're going to put our tacos together with this wonderful slaw on a corn tortilla. So I feel like I'm missing something. So I have my whip, and you can watch me whip, or of course watch me nay-nay. This looks a little thick still, so I'm going to add a little more water. You can smell the sesame oil in there and the peanut butter. It's still a little thick. Add the rest of this water to it. That's about right, because when it does hit the pan and the heat, it will, boil up and start evaporating, and it will also thicken. So if it's a little loose, you'll be okay. So that's what our creamy sauce looks like. That's going to go in. Let me get this whip out of here. Here is the sauce. It's going to go in there. You'll see more of it when we actually start cooking. So I'm going to clean up. Okay, we've got our pan on. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to it. I'm going to use a little olive oil, just because that's what I have available right now. I'm just going to get the pan covered with oil. I am not going to get an inch or two in there. We're not going to shallow fry it. We're just going to actually saute a little bit of this tofu up. I'm not going to use the whole thing that I cut up in this right now because the pan's kind of small. I just want enough for 2 or 3 tacos, so I'm going to count about a third of this in there. Pan is hot. We're just going to drop that tofu right in there. Peanut butter on my hand. So that should be enough for 2 or 3 tacos. And I just basically want to brown this up. Alright, that's hot on both sides. I'm not real sure if tofu even browns up, but it is hot throughout, which is the goal. And now I'm going to add the sauce to it. Very little bit. What I just want to do is I want to coat all of that tofu. Now you can see how we get in here, we can see how we got the bubbles going, and it's thinning, pretty much thickening up and evaporating, which is what you want to see, because then it's going to make a nice pasty, I don't know how to explain it, but it'll go into a taco real nice. But it's thick, it's flavorful, and it won't be runny and going all over the place when you eat it, I guess. But yeah, that looks good. It smells fantastic too. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. We'll assemble the tacos, and then we'll give them a taste test. So stick around. This is going to be awesome. And I forgot to mention, I did heat the corn tortillas up on both sides a little bit until they blistered almost, so they are pliable and you can put the ingredients in it. So if you didn't know that, it's an important thing to do. I'm going in for a bite. Joe, this is why I don't like eating on camera. Boom. First thing I get off this is I get the crunch from the slaw and that smokiness from that sesame oil, and then you get that firmness of the tofu with all the flavors that absorbed into it. So really good. I'm going to go in for one more bite just to make sure. If I were to do this again, I would add a little more liquid to the slaw. It's kind of dry, but maybe a little more of the sauce and let it get. Remember I said that we got to thin it out until it reduced that sauce until it was so thin in the pan that it's too dry to me. So maybe a little more sauce. If you have any residual sauce, pour it over your taco. That would be good too, or maybe some hot sauce. But just a little bit dry for me. Maybe just increase the liquid. But other than that, flavors are dynamite. The crunch, the mouthfeel, everything's great. So I highly recommend this. Angie, this one's for you. I appreciate everything you did. You made that nice profile picture for me on my chef page on Facebook. You did it on your own time, and it was great. You didn't have to do that. So this show is dedicated to you. As for the rest of you, thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit that like button right there. Leave me a comment below. Just stop by and say hi. Tell me what you think. And then do me a big favor and share this with everyone you know. This has been Chef John Politte from It's Only Food. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.